Hey, just wanted to shoot a quick video. I didn't have time to do my typical format, but one thing that caught my attention, and I had to share my thoughts on it, is the fact that Trump. I just received his message. Says Trump proposes record 4.75 trillion budget with 8.6 billion for a border wall, and he made a lot of questionable cuts. But yet, one thing that did go up was defensive spending, and so I'll put the link below this video here. But yet, what's most shocking about this is that there's a 4.7 trillion budget plan that's put together, and God knows what's in it all together, but yet it increases the national debt in a time where we're supposed to have economic expansion. So my question would be, apart from not knowing what's inside of the plan or the budget, why 4.75 in the midst of so-called good times? And so what happens when the economy slows down like everyone predicts it will occur? Then what? So if it's 4.75 is being proposed, then what if it gets passed? I'm sure that he's going to have some issues getting that passed, apart from having to throw some more funny things up in there. But if it gets passed, 4.75 trillion at a time where our economy is supposed to be healthy, imagine what happens when we officially reach the point where recession becomes obvious. Because as you guys have seen from all the videos I've done before, thousands upon thousands of jobs are being lost. And so one thing I read another article mentioning that the economy is looking good according to some type of analyst or something of that nature. So I'm wondering where they actually find these people from, or what are they on these days. But just give you an idea what's going on, I'll thumb through it briefly, but more importantly, take time to read more for yourself. But this is just a quick article. And what I liked about this article here is that it gives a breakdown of actually all the cuts and the areas that they were cut. And so it says, basically here it says, on Monday, Trump sent out a budget for 4.75 trillion. It said, which he called for a 5% increase in military spending. So at a time of peace, supposedly, we're ramping up our war spending budget. Not a surprise. It says a 1.9 trillion cut to safety net programs and an additional 8.6 billion for his border wall. And so because of this 8.6 billion, I imagine there's going to be a lot of issues with this budget plan actually being passed. So it's just, as of now, just a number. But it's good to say that Democrats may not be so willing to pass this, apart from them getting some goodies inside as well. And so, give you an idea, it says Trump budget won't balance for 15 years, and Capitol Hill will probably reject this budget, as it does every year with every president. But just looking at the numbers here, it gives you a long list. If you guys can see it, it gives you a long list. So here's a long list of all the so-called cuts that are being made, or recommended cuts. And so it says Trump's budget, the largest in history, will make cuts to the following programs and departments. So just the fact that this budget plan is not even a budget, because you're already running a major deficit. And so the idea that we got to borrow or create out of nowhere, find 4.75 trillion at the minimum in good times, let me know that this is very problematic. And it's the greatest threat, as always, as I've always mentioned on Rethinking the Dollar, this channel, is that all of this monetization of debt is about to be brought into existence one way or another. There's going to be some type of trillions brought into existence and added to our national debt. But all that does is reflects in your actual national currency. What you hold on to, what you save, invest for your entire livelihood and your future is what this all going to boil down, and what this impacts the most. And so Agriculture Department, cutting 14.8% recommended. State Department and International Programs, 23.3. So international programs, not sure what that is, but I'd imagine it's funding other countries and other issues that we shouldn't be funding anyway. It says Interior Department, negative 11%. Education Department, he's cutting it by 12%. And so here we have strikes in California, teachers all across this country crying and just honestly being able to say that they're underpaid and overworked with large classroom sizes and all that type of issues we have. He's talking about taking off or cutting 12% of that. So I'd imagine that's not going to fly well with the Education Department itself. Energy Department, 10.8%. Labor Department, 9.7%. Health and Human Services, 12%. It says Transportation Department, 21.5%. Environmental Protection Agency, 31%. Social Security Administration, cutting people's checks or funding it less, 3.5%. So cutting Social Security Administration by 3.5%, which will be a problem. Now, here we get into the nitty gritty of everything, of all those expenditures that are unfunded off our balance sheets, but yet take up a good chunk of what's owed for the future. Medicaid, 1.5 trillion in cuts in 10 years. So basically, was that $150 billion a year, give or take? And then we have Medicare, 845 billion in cuts over 10 years. And so what will increase, what will get more expenditures or more funds, says these departments and programs will increase in funding. Commerce Department will increase by 0.4%. National Nuclear Security Administration. National Nuclear Security Administration, 8.9%. Nuclear. So defensive spending is going up, and the National Nuclear Security Administration is going up 8.9%. Department of Homeland Security, 7.4%. Treasury Department, 1.5%. Veterans Affairs, 7.5%. NASA, 1.4%. So between NASA, Homeland Security, and the National Nuclear Security, what exactly are we increasing those budgets for? Veteran Affairs should, out of all of these, probably get the most because our vets are the ones that are underappreciated and not taken care of for having put forth their life for this country. But yeah, just want to take a quick minute, let you guys know. Check the link down below, but definitely this is what's happening in the news today. 4.75 in good times, not going to fly, but yet this is what's needed. And so I remember doing videos prior to Trump coming into office talking about how it just based upon trend, Obama added 10 trillion. And so at this current point, him adding 4.75 is not too surprising because I would assume he has to double that 10 trillion that happened under Obama, but that was during a recession, a global depression, and we haven't even hit the next wave yet. So imagine if we do hit the next wave, how 4.75 will pale in comparison to what's going to be needed on top of that. So at worst case scenario, 4.75, if it gets through somehow, some way in the next year or two. But then we got what's going to happen with what's going to be needed rather when the market corrects and everything hits the fan. Then we're going to need multiple trillions. And so if it's 4.75 in good times, double that, triple that for something just to get started on trying to stabilize things. But yet, in my opinion, I don't think it'll work. But just wanted to share this quick article with you guys real quick. Leave your comments down below. And more importantly, if you find this informative, give it a thumbs up. Definitely, this is all reflected in our national currency, the Federal Reserve note. So this is definitely some important stuff we got to pay attention to because as a monetary base increases, less purchasing power for you and I. So other than that, hope all's well. See you later. Peace.